YouTube.
And we're back. Sorry, there was a bit of a technical snafu. My camera tends to do this, so apologies. We've got a man, deadlier than Dan Henderson's right hand, and we still continuing with with Dom. And sorry, Dom, you were saying, sorry.
I was just saying, I think the fortunes of Spurs have changed now. I think if we can qualify for the Champions League and start to qualify regularly, our best players will no longer be linked with such regularity with big boys, either in this league or abroad.
Do you know what?
Do
you know what? I'll tell you this now. There's a couple. I've taken a huge amount of time, so I'll be very, very quick. First of all, I wonder if I go to Ladbrokes tomorrow, will I ask them? Will they give me a bet on Jack Wilshere leading Arsenal before Gareth Bale leaves Tottenham? It's the first thing I'm going to ask them. What are the odds on that? And the second thing, and here's the thing, I'm not sure Gareth Bale will leave. And the reason I say that, have you heard of Levi Stubbs, Dom?
Levi Stubbs?
Yeah.
No, not really.
Have you heard of the Four Tops?
The Four Tops, of course.
Levi Stubbs was the lead singer of the Four Tops, and he was always touted that he was going to dump them and leave them. He was the most charismatic. He had the best voice, and if he left them, he would have tripled his salary easily. But he chose to stay. You know what? He chose to stay loyal to the people he was with. He'd grown up with them. They'd known each other since high school. And he said, look, yes, I can have all this money, but you know what? If I'm not enjoying it, then what's the point? Obviously, the longevity of a pop star career compared to a footballer's career is very, very different. But I think, honestly, there are some, and I know I say this tritely, but with this new Premiership TV deal, which is the most redonkulously ridiculous Premiership TV deal we'll ever have, the money that we can offer players like Gareth Bale is ridiculous. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, when I watch La Liga, I don't enjoy it. Because for me, it's just basically, because Ronaldo scored about 20 hat tricks. Now, what does that say about? Now, obviously, Ronaldo's an amazing player, but he basically it's like I don't know, putting a Mike Tyson in the ring with a 4-year-old, because of the way that their league deal, the way their pay deal is. Obviously, Atletico have changed things, the status quo slightly, and who knows, maybe Valencia will, but Valencia are still about $500 million in debt, something stupid like that. And even Atletico may have to sell Falcao, or having bought him for, say, I don't know, 20 million, or sell him for like 50 million or something. And I think it's a challenge. And I think if you look at the challenge he gets offered in this country, look at, I think this country and the German league are most competitive. if you look at Bayern Munich as a good example, yes, Arsenal got stoved by Bayern Munich, but Bayern Munich are beating the crap out of everyone. They stoved in Borussia Dortmund, who basically saw off Man City and Real Madrid. That's how good Bayern Munich are. And I just think, I'm not saying that. Obviously, if someone says, look, Gareth Bale can offer you £500,000 a week, he's got a family, he's got a limited time to making a career, he might want to leave. But for me, I just think there's a real bond he has with his manager. And with this Premiership League deal, obviously that's going to make us a huge ton of money. If we get the Champions League, there's a lot of money coming in. If we get this new stadium, there's a ton of money coming in. Once Sainsbury's, where life is what is it? Life is cheaper for better, apparently. And they haven't paid for that plug. I just thought I'd put it in there. I just think, I don't know. I just don't see him leaving. I just think if things continue, we are still challenging. The Premiership is such an exciting place to be, as you said, and it is an exciting place to be. I don't see him leaving. I really don't.
I hope the only thing that would make him leave would be, so if we qualify for the Champions League, and that is going to be essential for the best players in the world, if we continue to qualify for the Champions League, there's a chance that he may stay for a while. I actually think that it's more likely than not he will want to challenge himself as a world-class player in a different league other than the Premiership. I take your points about La Liga, but I could see him at some point going to one of those big boys, whether it be Barcelona or probably more likely from the sounds of things Real Madrid. I hope that won't happen, and if it does happen, it will happen in a few seasons' time. And I also hope that if he does do that, he's built up such a loving fan base, dare I say, at Spurs, that, you know, he might do, we've mentioned it once already, he might do a Teddy Sheringham, i.e. go to Real Madrid, like, stay with us a couple of seasons, get us in the Champions League, hopefully let us push on for a proper Premiership title tilt, which I never thought I would say until recently. And if he does go to Real Madrid, go and win the lot with them for a couple of seasons, and then maybe come back to England and come back to Spurs when he's, you know, in his late 20s, early 30s, and see out the
rest of his career with us. Yeah, do you know what, that is, do you know what, that's a really nice romantic thing. And do you know what, on that note, on that lovely sweet note, I think we should call an end to YouShubes here. I think. Thank you so much to Dom for giving up his time. I really appreciate it, Dom. I really do. Unfortunately, you haven't had the chance to see his, you know, his incredibly handsome face. But that puts people thinking, shit, maybe I should visit Leo Machida so he can, you know, beat me a new face in, you know. But it's no, but you know, you have to see me, who actually hasn't been up by Leo Machida, as you can tell. No, but definitely thanks again to Dom. I am just going to give a shout out to, I'm trying to think. I'm going to give a shout out to a young individual who's running for a charity called Mind. I've had some very wonderful people. He's had some very wonderful people, much better than him, infinitely better than him, sponsoring him for this race. And so I'd like to give a shout out to a guy called Shuban. He's running in a half marathon in the Royal Park Half Marathon, and you can sponsor that at virgingivingmoney.com or something /Shuban. But definitely email YouShubes and find out. But definitely thanks again to Dom for donating, and loads of people have donated. It's fantastic. And hopefully let's get 3 points in that North London derby. And man, let's just, because I can imagine this. I can honestly see that if they lose this and then they lose to Bayern, I think the cumulative effect on their season, I think it could really kill them. And I feel such pity for that if that happened. Not.
And if they don't qualify for the Champions League, it's going to be even worse for them. Jude, I thank you for the kind compliments. I'm not sure if they're appropriate. Just for the record, anyone that is watching YouTube, get online and sponsor Ban for this, because it's a very, very, very worthy cause this man is running for. He does it, with no sight for personal glory. So get on there and give man some of your cash.
Cheers. Thanks very much. And as always, on that bombshell, let's call it a day. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you